Welcome to my channel. Sit back and listen to the best true crime stories. Let's go. Blonde hair, blue eyes, pierced ears, and dimpled cheeks. Vegetarian, smoker, strong Southern accent, speaks fluent Spanish, was the description given in an APB for Leah Roberts, a 23-year-old from Durham, a city in southeastern North Carolina. She left her home in March 2000 and disappeared forever. The last few years have been hard on her. Leah had a wonderful family, loving parents, older brother Heath and sister Cara. With the latter she was especially close, apparently, affected a small difference in age, just 2 years. When Leah was 17, her father became seriously ill, and the family focused on his treatment. Despite this, Leah continued to study. She graduated from high school and entered the University of North Carolina, where she began to study anthropology. It seemed that the trouble passed, but in 1996 the girl's mother died suddenly from heart disease. It took her more than a year to recover and return to her studies. However, another misfortune happened. In the fall of 1998, Leah was in a serious accident. In front of her on the highway sharply left the truck. She did not have time to brake and drove into it. She suffered a punctured lung and a shattered right femur. She had a metal pin put in. Leah later admitted to Cara that she was sure she was going to die. It seemed like she had been given a second chance. After recovering from the accident, the girl went back to her studies. She studied for a semester in Spain, then enrolled in a field program in Costa Rica. But 3 months before her departure, in the spring of 1999, her father died. Leah didn't cancel the trip. In Costa Rica, she flew to her friend Nicole, and the state of the girl that seriously worried. She was too calm and as if not grieving. Later, her brother and sister would say that it was there that Leah decided to free herself from her past. Back in the United States, Leah began taking guitar lessons, took up photography, and began to write a lot. She could often be seen at Cup of Joe coffee shop with a pen and notebook. "I think she would love to write the next great American novel," Cara said in an interview. And their brother Heath added that Leah always struck him as someone who was wise beyond her years. A few months before graduation, Leah announced to her family that she was dropping out. She let Heath and Cara's objections pass, so they just had to accept her decision. Leah also began to drift away from old friends, but enjoyed getting to know someone. On the road, Leah rented a place with her friend Nicole, but often called her relatives. On March 9, 2000, they discussed current affairs with Cara over the phone. Leah was in a good mood, telling her that she planned to go on business with Nicole the next day. Nothing in this conversation foreshadowed that it would be the last. Leah didn't show up for her appointment with Nicole on the appointed day, but she didn't think it was a big deal. She might have forgotten. When she got home, Leah and her car, a white 1993 Jeep Cherokee, were gone. But that seemed fine to her, too. "Sometimes we wouldn't see each other for a day or two. When I got home from work, she was either still in bed or already in bed," Nicole said. It wasn't until a few days later that she sounded the alarm and immediately called Cara. They spent the next 24 hours calling everyone Leah knew. No one knew anything. There were a few things missing from the girl's room, but nothing to suggest that she had left the house out of choice. Although Cara was sure her sister had left on her own, fear for her emotional state made her file a police report. Cara went back to Leah's room to see if she had missed anything and found the note. It was addressed to Nicole. There was a Cheshire Cat smile on a folded-in-half piece of paper, and inside was money. The note said it was to pay the bills. The amount left was enough for a month. Leah also asked her sister not to worry and added that she was far from suicidal. On the side of the sheet was an inscription referring to the book On the Road by Jack Kerouac. According to a Cup of Joe coffee shop employee, they often discussed Kerouac with Leah. The girl wanted to retrace his journey to find answers to the questions that troubled her. She did not appear depressed or upset, according to the employee. Nicole later recalled that a few weeks before her disappearance, Leah suggested she drop everything, get in her car, and drive to California. "It sounded great, but I was at work," Nicole said. Leah had inherited some money after her parents died, so she could afford to not work and travel for a while. Abandoned Cherokee Kara still couldn't find a place to go. She obtained a bank statement about the movement of funds in her sister's account and discovered that she had withdrawn $3,000 the day she disappeared. On March 10th, Leah checked into a hotel near Memphis, Tennessee. She traveled west on I-40, a highway that runs through 8 states: California, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Tennessee, and North Carolina. After that, Leah only used the card to pay for gasoline. Apparently, she traveled further on the I-5 highway. It runs through 3 states: California, Oregon, and Washington. The last transaction recorded was on March 13th at a gas station in Brooks, Oregon, at 0:57. That's where Leah was caught on security camera footage. She was alone, paid the cashier, and left. However, the girl looked outside several times, as if looking for something. What exactly she was looking for is unknown. On March 19th, Kara turned 26. She was sure that her sister would call her to congratulate her. But instead, she received a message asking her to call back from the sheriff of the city of Bellingham, Washington. The previous day, 2 joggers on the Old Canyon Creek logging road in the Mount Baker Reservation had noticed clothes hanging from trees on the side of the road. They approached them and discovered a car at the bottom of the ravine. The runners reported the find to 911, and a county sheriff's deputy rushed to the scene. The first thing that caught his eye was the items scattered near the car: music CDs, guitar, checkbook, bags of clothes. Blown-out windows in the Jeep were covered with blankets. In addition, Leah's passport and driver's license were found, as well as cat food. It is likely that she had taken a kitten with her on the road with her shortly before the trip. Neither Leah nor the cat was at the scene. According to Whatcom County Sheriff's Department Detective Jamie Collins, the car left the road and was rolling at 30 to 40 miles per hour. The speed was determined based on tree damage. The vehicle took down several trees that were 3 to 4 inches in diameter. It flipped over several times, Collins said. He said the driver should have been seriously injured, but the seatbelt was not on. There were no head impact marks on the windshield, and no blood was found at the scene either. A week after the Jeep was found, an unidentified man called police to claim that his wife had seen a disoriented girl resembling Leah at a gas station in Everett, Washington. Without waiting for questions, the man panicked and hung up. The location was 96 kilometers from Bellingham, but the tip yielded nothing. After the accident, a search and rescue team with dogs arrived on the scene, and they spent 2 weeks searching the woods and road. Police also conducted an aerial survey from helicopters. At the end of the year, they organized a second search, already with a metal detector and cadaver dogs.
No trace.
The police began to think that Leah wasn't in the car at the time of the accident. American Beauty 4 days after the Jeep was found, Kara and Heath arrived in Bellingham. During that time, members of the sheriff's department called local hospitals. A woman who looked like Leah had not asked for help. They also continued to examine the car. A diamond engagement ring belonging to Leah's mother was found under the floor mat. The girl had never taken it off under any circumstances. Her friend Nicole said the jewelry was sacred to her. Police also found $2,400 in cash. They said she originally had about $2,500 with her. Apparently, Leah had hardly spent any money since March 13th, the day she last used the card. Another find seemed like a breakthrough. The police found a movie ticket in the car in a pretty box, similar to the kind of box used to store memorabilia. Leah attended a screening of the movie American Beauty on March 13th at 2:10 p.m. The movie theater was at the Bellis Fair Shopping Center in Bellingham. It was about a 5 to 6 hour drive from Brooks, where she had last used the map, to this location. It became clear that Leah had spent several hours in town waiting for the session. Kara and Heath went to the movie theater to ask the employees about Leah, but they didn't remember her. So the brother and sister went to the food court, lucky them. The employees of a small restaurant remembered Leah. She was sitting behind the bar, coming in alone. The police found the customer at Restaurant 1 with whom Leah was talking. He described her as a nice and open person, and also noted that she had spoken to another man. The sheriff's office contacted him as well. Male number 2 confirmed that he had communicated with Leah. They discussed Kerouac and her travel goals. He also said that Leah left the restaurant in the company of someone named Barry and described him in detail. According to customer number 1, However, Leah left the restaurant alone. The police decide to take a closer look at man number 2. They question his testimony, but he claims he never saw Leah again. No more leads emerge. The investigation stalled. The cops asked Kara what they should do with the car, but she refused to take it back. I had often heard of cases that were solved after 1,000 years because of new evidence found by chance. So I was firm in my decision to leave them the car, Kara said. She was right. Under the Hood. 2006. The detective in charge of investigating Leah's disappearance retired. Jamie Collins has taken his place. He and his partner Alan Smith decided to take a fresh look at the case. So they discovered that the car had not been fully investigated. No one had looked under the hood. We found that the cover on the starter relay had been removed, allowing someone to turn the ignition key, press the starter relay, and get the car to accelerate on its own, said Alan Smith. They also found fingerprints on the inside of the hood. Those were also missed during the initial investigation. However, a person with the knowledge of an auto mechanic could have pulled all of this off. Cops turned their attention back to man number 2 from the restaurant. He'd been a mechanic for a while and had military experience, but by then he had moved to Canada. Police asked co-workers to fingerprint the suspect and take a DNA sample. It took about 2 years and it came to nothing. The prints didn't match. In parallel, the police re-examined the evidence and turned some items over to the lab. In the spring of 2010, they found male DNA on one of the items. Since then, there have been no developments in the case. Police believe Leah is not alive and hope a metal pin with a serial number will help locate her remains. But Heath and Kara continue to believe. During the investigation, the police put forward several versions of what happened. The accident was staged. Leah wasn't in the car. Leah did get into the accident, hit her head hard, was disoriented, possibly suffering from amnesia, could have hitchhiked somewhere else from the scene. Suicide. This option denies Kara. Leah was in a good mood in their last conversation. In addition, she left Nicola some to pay the bills, which would be enough for a month. So Leah was planning on coming back.